So I made a video about Mario and Luigi Brothership before it even came out. Needless to say, it was an unpopular opinion. I stated that the game might not live up to fans' expectations going off of older titles in the series. The first 3 games, while not perfect, were solid turn-based RPGs with a lot of flashiness, solid storytelling, and really addictive gameplay. However, after Bowser's Inside Story, the games got different. These games are sort of divisive. Each have issues that everyone can agree on, but none are unanimously decided good or bad. It comes down to your personal preference. But one thing that is agreed on is that the last game in the series felt lacking compared to older titles, and the remakes, while fine, weren't something that people were looking for, causing the closure of the developer Alpha Dream, and seemingly the series was left to die. Surely if this can come back, so can the original Sprite cranberry recipe. Please, Sprite, my body's disintegrating as we speak! But how is Mario and Luigi Brothership? Does it live up to older titles, or is it just simply brother, not that good and somewhat disappointing? AKA shit. IGN is doing their IGN thing. Like, I swear, no one would have expected a 5 out of 10 from the same company that complained about Wind Waker having too much water in it. And since this review came out, people have been decisive, either agreeing or tossing these ideas out the window. And where do I lie in that aspect? Because I'll be honest, when I first saw this game, I got a bit worried, and that worriedness just did not go away. I want so desperately to like Brothership, but even though I got this day one, I haven't even played it. Until now. Time to be dramatic and claim that this thing ruined my childhood. I will say, the opening to this game is perfection. Right away, we see how expressive and wacky these characters are going to be, and as they are sucked out of the Mushroom Kingdom, you're thrown into the game wasting no time at all. No long dialogue trees, no unnecessary tutorials, no dragging on. It's just simple and to the point, and I think it's a major improvement, especially after Dream Team and Paper Jam. Talk about Yap City over here. But that improvement doesn't last for long, as you are quickly added to exposition hell! Oh my god! God, make it stop! Oh no, there's story in my game. Whatever shall I do? Yeah, that's how annoying this part of the game can be, and doctors have only partially put my brain back together. I no longer have taste. If the game has set me up with silent storytelling, or at least minimum dialogue, I would have loved to have stuck with it. But this outlet for her face is named Connie, and she lets us know that Concordia, once being a peaceful place, got ripped apart due to the Unitree dying. It kept the islands all together with its beam of lights, but now they all drift apart out in the sea. Just put an ice pack on the Unitree, problem solved. So, Mario and Luigi offer to help, and with Snoutlet as our guide, we are off to connect the islands back together using each respective lighthouse. You see how simple that explanation was? Yeah, it takes you almost 10 minutes to hear that and then get to your first island. Why? It's such a pace breaker, and from here, the pace in general feels awfully slow. It is due to problems that prior games had, unnecessary tutorials, drawn out plot points, long ass dialogue trees. My god, shut up! It wouldn't be a problem if the dialogue was somewhat useful, but most of the time it just overstates the obvious. Like, some tutorial boxes will explain things that the characters already f***ing told you. Or you'll do something, and after it's done, a character will explain what just happened. It doesn't feel like the game is holding my hand per se, it's like my hand is on a leash. I can only go so far before I'm yanked back because I shit on the neighbor's lawn. By the way, you can use the code YouTube10 to get 10% off these 2 rings from Ridge. You can also click the tag product that just popped up. I've been a fan of Ridge for years now and been personally using one of their wallets. It comes in this cute ring case, and each ring comes with a silicone option. It's great if you don't like the feel of metal on your fingers, but even if so, the metal is great and high quality. I promise I would not have done this if I did not love Ridge. And by getting one of these rings, it really helps make some of the content that I do. And in the case of Mario and Luigi Brothership, all of this dialogue and over-explanation really hurts the pacing, and that doesn't even get into the fact that you're not unlocking abilities right away. Something that I actually like about the Mario and Luigi series is that the flow of the games are determined by the unlockable abilities and the time between each unlockable. The point was to give the player something new to do after getting comfortable with the current gameplay style, as to not make the game feel stale. In Superstar Saga, you're introduced to your first bros move in the first area of the game. In Partners in Time, you swap between the baby versions of the bros and adult versions until you link up to learn to work together. Bowser's Inside Story puts you straight into Bowser and lets you swap between playstyles very early on. But then Dream Team takes like 40 minutes to get to the main gimmick, and Paper Jam just kind of exists. I don't remember what happens in that game. And in this game, it takes about 3 hours before you unlock a bros attack. You are stuck in the same kind of repetitive playstyle with almost no variation until 3 hours into the f***ing game. To be fair, you do unlock hammers, but they add almost nothing in terms of gameplay, really only being used in situational instances. Now, it might take 3 hours to get to a very integral part of the series, but man, oh man, does the game really pick up after that. Look, I hate the phrase, this game gets good in blank amount of hours, but man, this game gets good at like 3 to 4 hours in. Something about unlocking that first bros attack just clicks. You start learning new abilities and more things are given to the player to do. It's like I was finally taken off the leash and the game now feels more like an adventure, one in which I'm in more control over how it goes. I can finally shit anywhere now. In fact, for the first time in the game series, you can make story-changing decisions. Certain events in the game will give you a choice, and each choice can lead to a different outcome within the game. That's really f***ing awesome, because next time I play this game, I'll be picking the alternative paths that I missed. This game does a lot differently from older titles, and honestly, it's refreshing. I think it pushes the boundaries of what the series formula had while not breaking said formula. The first 3 hours are a drag, but I can give them some credit on trying something new, making sure you master your basic attacks before you get your first special attack. I wouldn't have f***ing designed it that way, but what do I know? I'm just the guy who likes complaining. And the point here is not that the special attack makes the game better. It's more so that after this specific point, the pacing of the game feels a lot more smooth. You don't get trapped in random text boxes of no importance. You don't have to go through bullshit tutorials, and you don't feel like there's something missing, and the game does give you more and more to shake up the gameplay when it starts to feel repetitive. Getting my first area completed felt like a slog, but the second area was so much fun, I started appreciating the game a whole lot more. The new additions and changes to the series were a treat, like how the brothers now work together on basic attacks, and the new plug system replaces badges and change up how battles work, adding in a new level of strategy that frankly wasn't in any game before. And it does feel really good to battle in this game, which frankly the series has always nailed. But I am surprised at how much things were shaken up while also keeping that same level of fun and engagement. Until you start looking into the tiny details. These details don't make the battles bad. They are nitpicks, but at the same time, they're constantly causing me issues when I play the game. The depth perception in the game is hard for me to perceive. Oftentimes, I'm trying to counter too early or too late, so countering doesn't become what I visually see. It more so becomes me counting in my head on when to jump or release my hammer. Counterattacks also have some weird hitboxes. I counted this attack during the Mega Snaptor fight as a big example because no matter what, it felt like as if my hits were not landing. And then there's Luigi.
Hello, Mario.
In every game prior, Luigi primarily uses the B button for everything. Jumping, action commands, selecting. In Brothership, that remains the same, except for selecting your options in battle. Now you might think that this isn't a big deal, but it comes down to my muscle memory. I select my enemy, and now I want to use that same button I selected with to do my attack. It cost me a lot of moves, and it's something I know other people have been dealing with too. I felt that there should have been an option for veteran players, to use B with Luigi to select your options. However, this doesn't even get into what I think is the worst problem with the battle system, and that's getting in and out of them. Because when you're going between overworld exploration and turn-based battling, you have to make that transition as seamless as possible so the player can digest it easier. That way, battling does not become a hindrance. That being said, battles in Brothership are fucking annoying! This beautiful battle system that is super fun is bogged down by loading the battle in and then loading the overworld afterwards. Getting into a battle isn't that bad, but you can see the game struggle as the transition screen freezes trying to load in all the assets for the battle. Getting out of it, they don't even try to hide it. There is a loading screen, and the timing depends on what area you are in, and it's still loading right now? Here's your average battling experience in older games. And here's your average battling experience in Brothership. That's right, my friend got so bored of watching it, he died. I know it might seem unfair to compare this to older games, but I'm using it to show how the difference between load times can affect the experience. The less weight in transitioning between gameplay styles makes the battles less annoying and therefore more fun. But halting the game to load in these battles makes me want to skip them altogether, which is bad because you need a battle in order to level up to fight the bosses in the game. It's the reason why I wish this series had stayed in a 2D art style, because loading in 2D sprites or 2D artwork is a lot easier on a console than 3D models are. Dream Team and Paper Jam also suffered from this kind of transitional slowness. They had to load in the 3D backgrounds, and to compensate for that, the transitions got slower, making the game overall feel slower. And on the topic of the art style, I have to admit, I'm very mixed on it. I think every Mario character looks phenomenal. They're so expressive, so beautifully animated with squatching and stretching, and the cutscenes are just so much fun to watch. I'd be an idiot to say that this is bad, but a lot of the original characters feel a bit out of place. That might honestly be on purpose, considering that this is a different world to the Mushroom Kingdom. But some of these designs I think would have translated better in 2D. I get that the game is centered around electricity, so almost everything is an outlet and plug, but making the faces outlets just makes me wonder if they'd power my Bluetooth door. It doesn't open without Wi-Fi. However, I wouldn't know how to prove these designs, and I can totally understand if that's just me. It's a small nitpick, and the game still looks amazing regardless of what I might think. I could just be a little salty that they didn't stick with a 2D art style, whether that be 2D sprites or hand-drawn animation, because come on, that'd be so cool. However, that is not what we got, and I'm here to critique what we did get. And to be fair, after spending some time with the game, I think it's safe to say that I was both right and wrong about Brothership. But probably more wrong. I feel as if I was right, because those first 3 hours, if you gave this to someone and they only played that part of the game, then yeah, it'd be disappointing. Heck, I was disappointing, and I almost didn't return to the game after my first time playing it. However, going beyond that is where I'm wrong, as Mario and Luigi Brothership, through battles and overworld puzzle solving, shapes up to be a fun experience, and there is an argument to be made that this is the best game in the series. I mean, the Luigi logic gimmick alone shows how much they've been looking to improve. Older games dunked on Luigi so much, but this game, he is the main catalyst for solving problems and making a way forward through tough instances. It's also used in battles with bosses, and while I think it makes the boss fights way too predictable, almost making them into a waiting game, you can also fail these parts, causing you a massive advantage, so I think it's a great addition that spices up the game. Overall, this is a huge step in the right direction for the series if they continue to make games, and I really hope they do, because it can only get better from here. And I really do mean that. After Bowser's Inside Story, it was only ever going to be hard to top that kind of game, which is why I feel, in my opinion, the later games felt a bit lacking. But this game sets new ground, showing us that yes, there is indeed more you can do with the series, and it feels like that they're just getting started. Needless to say, I am so happy that I was wrong, and maybe this time, finally, I can stop getting death threats. Nope, my neighbor gave me one for shitting on his lawn.